Welcome back to FilmFloggers. We review films and flog dead horses, so you don't have to. Is this week's film choice a complete waste of your viewing time? Much like flogging/beating dead horses, get it? Please head over to www.filmfloggers.com to check out all of our previous floggings. And while you're there, maybe hang out for a while, look around and vote for our next film. Click on vote, or visit www.filmfloggers.com/vote. Are you an idiot? If so, please check out our Idiot's Guide to Reviewing Us, where even a big dummy like you can leave us a red-hot review. Here at FilmFloggers, we pride ourselves on offering 1-star content with 5-star effort. Once on the website, please click on Idiot's Guide, or visit us at www.filmfloggers.com/review-us. That should have been Idiot's Guide. My fault, I didn't change the URL. Annoying. Once again, filmfloggers.com/review-us. Believe it or not, we now have a Patreon. I know what you're thinking. You have the audacity to ask us to pay to receive more of this. Pause for dramatic effect. Yes. We have a Patreon exclusive show called Nitpickers. I think you'll like it. Please visit www.filmfloggers.com/support-us. Again, that hyphen is annoying, should have removed it. Or head straight to our Patreon page. Patreon.com/filmwafflers. No idea why I did film wafflers. Another mistake. Where you can support us for as little as £1 British or $1.50. And while you're on the website, punch that big purple subscribe button and tell a friend about the flog. Wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, mistress, your nan, granddad, your kids. They can tell their friends. They can tell their friends at school about the flog. But in all seriousness, this really helps the podcast grow and enables us to enrich or ruin the lives of the hundreds of millions of earlobes we haven't reached yet. It's Flogmas!
You scumbag, you maggot, you cheap lousy cunt. Happy Flogmas to your arsehole. Thank God it's our last.
35. 4 seconds. Lift off. There you go.
Sweet.
Sweet as.
That's nice. That's nice. That was good.
Right. Okay. Right. Do you want to kick things off?
Yeah.
Well, this is it. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks for me.
Yeah. What was the last one?
Well, over 2 weeks. It's been like 2.5 weeks.
It's Hereditary, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Towards the end of a Floggaween. Oh man, what a great time that was.
All right. We're just reminiscing, listeners, about the last time I was actually on the old microphone. It's been a little bit of time has passed. Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you've addressed the fact that you've got to the end of Floggaween and that you've just about managed to retain some interest in the podcast after 31 days of that. Yeah. So this episode will probably come out before the 12 days of Flogmas. You say it's very clever. That's nice.
You take a holiday.
You put the flog on it, yeah.
Yeah, mate, the energies are still high, still feeling good. You know, the fans want more.
So what you're telling me is this is like a warm-up. This is what's going to get people excited about the Christmas edition.
Yeah, this is going to get people all ramped up for the 12 days.
Okay.
Bit of this, bit of Dan Mackles maybe, popping in.
Good.
Get people excited.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Black Christmas, the 1974. I think there are a couple of... I mean, I think there's a straight-up remake that came out in the 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's something more recently, which I think is unrelated.
Yeah, they're both... Well, I've seen the remake in 2006. Really, really service.
Horrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the recent one, but it looks and sounds terrible. Really bad.
I mean, I think part of the... Because this is the first time I'd seen this. And... part of the reason I think I'd never actually watched it was because of that remake, and I just couldn't separate the original from the remake, and all I heard about the remake was negative. I think it tarnished my view of the Black Christmas brand. But this is absolutely top notch. I can't believe I haven't seen this before.
Oh, it's so good, yeah, so good.
What absolutely baffles me is that this isn't mentioned in the same breath. I mean, I guess in horror, amongst horror fans, it is mentioned in the same breath as like your Halloweens, as your Texas Chainsaw Massacres. But amongst sort of the everyman, it's not, is it?
I actually think that in many ways this is more interesting than Halloween.
Oh, it is 100%. Yeah. It's a better film than Halloween, without question.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Bob Clark, the director, had this chat with John Carpenter about what he would have done if he did a sequel to this. And apparently it just sounds like Halloween. He'd have had old Billy Boy taken to a mental asylum.
Yeah.
1 year later on Christmas, he would have escaped and then gone back to the house and started again. So It's like, well, hang on a minute.
Well, hang on. I mean, obviously, of course, it's the spoilers review. When you say Billy Boy, but it's not him. It's the bloke in the attic.
Yeah. Yeah, he's calling himself Billy, isn't he?
Oh, sorry. Oh, I thought you meant... Do you mean old...
Not Peter, not Turtleneck.
No, Turtleneck, yeah. I mean, he's been done, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been done, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're led to believe that it was Turtleneck, but in reality, it's ambiguous at the end. You hear the gentle humming as all singing or whatever he's doing. You're like, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
He just starts rocking that chair again. You're like, oh, my fucking God.
I mean, everything about it is... I mean, it's a real, skin creeper.
Yeah. Yeah, what's the idea of someone being in your house, isn't it? Home invasions, plays on the fear of that. That's one of the few things in horror. There's a lot of stuff that happens in horror which is, massively unrealistic. But people breaking into your house and creeping around when you're sleeping, well, it's happening, isn't it? That does happen. Maybe not so much hiding in your attic and then popping down for breakfast and then going back up again. But it's pretty unsettling.
The last third when, the protagonist, what's her name? What's the name of the girl who's pregnant? I'm not actually sure.
Oh, Christ.
I don't know.
Oh, it
doesn't matter. But whenever the last few telephone calls are coming into the house and the police have obviously bugged the phone, and it's very much about, look, keep them on the line because we've tapped the phone, and you get these calls that are becoming more and more frequent, more and more sort of out of control almost. Like, it sounds like the person on the other end is kind of losing control, and the bloke is running through the sort of rows and rows of call logs. I don't really know what that is. And inevitably, the call is going to be made to the house where the police are going to tell the woman, like, the call has been traced and it's coming from inside the house. Even before you get to that point when that inevitable call is made, you just know it's coming. You know that the news that, this is actually coming from inside the house is with you throughout, and you think, oh, Christ, this is grim. Yeah, it's very effective.
It's Jess, by the way. The girl's called Jess.
Jess, yeah, of course.
You know what we're like on FilmFloggers with now.
Oh, yeah.
We're not very good. Yeah, my only thing with these phone calls was, Billy's getting quite animated. He's screaming. He's very loud. And
yeah, you'd be hearing that.
Yeah, he's upstairs, yeah. He's just upstairs going...
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah.
The phone calls are so good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You hear these phone calls and you hear the language and you're like, oh, God, fucking hell, 70s. The 70s were absolutely exploding full of just really next level horror.
Yeah. It feels, I mean, they always say with horror that it's a sort of it's a mirror to the times, and it's a mirror to the sentiment of the times. And, it's the medium that explores that. And it feels like this kind of early 70s period, there was a lot of like pent up frustration. There was a lot that people wanted to say because, I mean, these films are unrelenting. And like you say, the phone calls themselves, there's so much anger in them. It does seem to say something. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Well, anytime you hear someone use the C word to describe a female's genitalia, doesn't matter when it is, 70s, present day, it's always like, well, for me anyway, it's always like, oh, Jesus.
It's heavy, yeah.
Whenever someone says that, you sort of sit up and go, oh, that's not very nice. What are we doing? That's nasty. And he says it quite a lot during the phone, the first phone call. That's half the phone call's just saying that. And then he starts talking about the fat cock and this sort of stuff. And yeah. Well, it really makes you sort of sit up and go, God, yeah, what is this? If you haven't seen it before, you're like, oh, hang on. Okay, where the fuck's this heading? This is pretty unsettling.
I mean, I found that. I thought, okay, so there's a sorority house and there's going to be there's a caller. I knew that as the basic premise, that's kind of how things start. And I thought, okay, right, what's that going to be? It's just going to be very kind of run-of-the-mill, basically sort of a daft horror film setup. But like you say, whenever he's coming out with what he does, you think, oh Christ, this guy is thoroughly unhinged. You get that from the opener, because I mean, this happens within the first 5 minutes of the film.
Well, as you said, yeah, you expect this film to be quite lazy. It's just the stereotypical college girls, the sorority house. It's like, oh, here we go, same old stuff, same old cliche rubbish that we've had before. And I actually think the characters, pretty much all the characters, are pretty well fleshed out. It's quite interesting. Even the stuff with Jess and Peter and the abortion stuff. Well, again, going back to the 70s, I'm pretty sure oh Christ, what was that Supreme Court ruling in the US? Roe versus Wade, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the road.
I think that was in and around this time where they ruled that abortions. I don't know how many states were where it was illegal to have abortions, but they ruled. I think it was the whole thing about the third trimester. You could get to that point and still legally have an abortion. So it was still quite a pretty hot topic at this point. And this is the year after, I think, or in and around the same time. So even having that now, it's like, oh yeah, whatever. You know, we've heard that before, but having that character arc with Jess and old Peter was pretty good. Yeah, there wasn't any characters in this where I was going, oh Christ, which you do, especially in horror films, in slasher films. At least half the cast, it's like, oh Jesus, look at this shit they're coming out with. It's rubbish.
I think it's one of these that the murders themselves are very impactful because the effects of them reverberate throughout the whole film. You know, the first girl who gets killed in the first act, she stays up in the attic, basically rocking, you know, back and forth in the chair with a bag over the head, and it's used not only as a sort of horror, you know, a reference point for the horror to remind everyone that he is in fact still there, and you know the evil is still in the house, but also the effects of that first murder and the sort of resulting disappearance of the girl, its effects on all the characters is thoroughly explored. You know, you've got the father who basically, you know, is looking increasingly shell-shocked by the disappearance of his daughter. You've got the other housemates, how they fall out about it. You know, the initial main girl, who's a bit of a sort of wild child, she thinks that everyone effectively blames her for this girl's disappearance. So there's a bit of tension set up as a result of that. And it just makes the whole thing more horrific. I mean, with say Halloween, ultimately, whenever people get killed, after it's happened, like, those characters are just out of the picture. It doesn't matter. But with this, it's a significant sort of turning point for everyone's journey in the film.
Yeah, that's a good scene with her rocking.
Yeah.
In the chair, and then Billy doing his nursery rhyme, and then it's juxtaposed next to seeing the dad, you know, waiting for her to turn up and sort of looking very befuddled, going like, well, what are we doing? She's half hour late here. Yeah, just little things like it's very well made, the film.
It's very well made.
It's really good, actually. It's really well shot. I think Bob Clark's a decent pair of hands here, this guy.
Yeah, he is. And the use of POV to characterize the killer is so effective. I mean, you only see his hands and you hear his voice, obviously, and then there's that scene where he's actually in the wardrobe, and you just see his eye with a bit of light shining on it, and it's sort of bloodshot and red and angry. You know, the choice of what to show and what not to show is masterful.
Oh, man, I think he's behind the door, actually, you know, looking through the slit, you see.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I thought he was maybe in the wardrobe there.
No, not Billy Boy, no. He's a doorman.
Yeah, he's doorman. But yeah, I mean, it's top notch.
Yeah, it's unsettling. Very unsettling.
I don't really. So what exactly is so? I mean, whenever people go on about Halloween, they talk about the scene where he's, you know, you see the perspective through his mask. Well, hang on. Yeah, all we're doing is sticking a mask on the lens. That's the only difference in Halloween.
Yeah, it's the whole thing at the start in Halloween where Michael's outside the house, you know, looking in the window, POV stuff. You're like, oh, okay. It's all right,
This is Black Christmas. What the fuck's going on with that?
It's quite well shot in the sense, I think I mentioned it in our Halloween review, where he's sort of looking at his arm while he's chowing down on his sister. That looks quite good. But the whole POV stuff, yeah, look, I don't think Black Christmas was the first film to do the whole POV of the killer or the stalker outside looking through the window and in the bush. But just straight away, you know, you've got this guy outside this sorority house, like, oh, okay, right. You're still going, well, all right, what's he up to then? He's just stalking these college girls. Okay, fine. Then he climbs up and he gets into the attic. You're like, what's this guy's plan here? What's he doing?
Yeah.
And just the idea of slowly taking out everyone one by one and then just bringing them up to the attic. It's like, yeah, all right. That's different. I haven't seen that before.
It's almost like the evil takes root in the attic.
Yeah.
You know, because it seems to transcend, you know, after that first phone call, which really it sets the stall out for the rest of the film, you realise, no, this isn't just some sort of, you know, some run-of-the-mill perv who's just making sort of daft phone calls. There's something worse about whoever's calling. And, you know, he basically moves into the attic is what happens.
What do you think Billy's setup is? Because he puts on, how many voices, maybe 4?
Well, it'll be one of those split personality types. Because, I mean, he's you know, he's got all these voices, but they're not voices. They are people.
They're people,
almost.
Yeah. So I don't know if what's happening is that each voice he's putting on, it's from his family. Is that what it is? Is that what we're dealing with? So he talks about this Agnes person, whoever that is, and he starts putting the female voice on.
You don't think he's maybe taking the personality of the people who he's killed?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if it's Agnes was maybe his sister or a family member. It seems to be they've done something inappropriate where they've had sex or he's molested her, and then you've got maybe the mum and dad. He puts the other voice on because he has like a moment where he starts going, Billy, what have you done? I told him not to leave Billy alone with Agnes and all this stuff. You're like, right, okay. So, by what I heard, it sounds like it's a full family job. And he's just going through each one, mum, dad, sister maybe, and then himself. And then you're getting through the various phone calls, you're getting a picture somewhat. Still pretty ambiguous, but you're getting an idea of what this guy's about. And
yeah,
he's obviously had a very traumatic experience at some point in his life. There's been abuse down the line somewhere. Maybe he's received abuse and then he's gone, well, I'll pass that along, which happens, and people get abused and then they end up abusing other people. But that's all you need, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure the remake goes into the whole backstory.
Oh, no.
I don't know if it's quite that, but I know there's some mum involved, and I think he puts a fucking wig on and stuff, and he pretends he's this Agnes person. I can't remember it, but it's terrible.
I think this proves that. I mean, I always used to think, that the shape or whatever it is in a horror film, the antagonist, you always think, okay, well, it's made more scary the more ambiguous it is. I don't think that's actually true, because that would imply, the most effective way of covering the backstory of the killer is to basically not say anything at all. I think it seems to be that if you look at the films that really work on that level, they show a little bit, they hint that there's been trauma, there's been some kind of abuse, and then they leave it. But they leave that in the viewer's mind, okay, well, this person that we're dealing with has come from a world of abuse, has basically come from hell, and, is then going on to do what he's doing. I think that makes the whole thing more unsettling than maybe just absolutely nothing. But it's a balancing act, because the moment you start then getting too into, you start really going into delving into the detail of where does this person come from, it humanises the person, and then it ruins the ambiguity of the whole thing.
Well, it's the same story, isn't it, all the time? Every time you get these films, you get a sequel or you get a remake. And it's like, right, so we're going to continue the franchise, we're going to continue the series by giving you a sequel and explaining Michael Myers, what he's all about, where he comes from. I don't want to see it.
No, I just don't want to see it.
It just seems it's the same shit every time. Well, clearly people want to see it. So, thank God it didn't happen for this. Bob Clark was like, no, thank you.
Is that right? I mean, I'm assuming was he approached to make one?
Again, it's one of those where when this first came out, I'm not sure, how well received it was at the time. Again, it's one of those which is throughout the years, people have started to see it and go, well, this is good stuff. And we've touched upon it already, but Halloween came out in 1978 and was seen as the original slasher film and was the one that kick-started this new genre. And I feel for many, it still is the definitive slasher film. And I don't want to start shitting all over Halloween, because it's still a very well-made film. And it still holds up. But if we're comparing it to this, well, Black Christmas was 4 years before this, so what does that mean?
I think this is harder to digest. I don't think this is as accessible as Halloween. That must be the reason why everyone's seen Halloween, but if you say Black Christmas, a lot of people who aren't into films won't know what you're talking about. Which doesn't make any sense, because, I don't want to say it's subjectively a better film, but it's as good. You couldn't argue that Halloween is better than this.
I've said in numerous episodes, I think, during Flogoween, if you take Michael Myers out of Halloween, well, what have you got?
Yeah. Well, you haven't got the music.
I haven't got the music.
I think the soundtrack, I think the theme tune is probably a big thing for Halloween.
Yeah. It's not like Halloween was the first film to introduce a masked killer, but it was just that mask. Again, that's why I go into the mask thing all the time and I get really upset, because that mask was top notch and it made Michael Myers. If he had a fucking clown mask on, you'd go, oh, well, I'm not sure about this. It's not as effective, this. So, Michael Myers is Halloween, isn't he? He is Halloween.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Halloween, that guy.
I think the mask, Michael Myers with the mask on and the music, I think that's Halloween. Everything else is sort of so what? But centrally you've got that holding it together. Which I guess in this, I guess the fact that you don't ever see the killer, that might be frustrating for people. That could turn people off.
I just find that odd, that mindset. Even though people may not realise it, that's actually what you want. That's what you need.
But it's harder to pinpoint because ultimately, when people who maybe aren't that interested watch a horror film, they want to be able to point and pinpoint exactly what it is that defines that film.
Well, they want to pay. They want to pay off, don't they? They want to pay
someone
off
who's not interested in films watches Halloween, goes, oh god, yeah, that mask, God, explosive. That music's so good, and that's it. If they're talking about Black Christmas and someone goes, oh, watch Black Christmas. Yeah, there's a bloke and he's making these obscene phone calls and, he's in the attic, but you never see his face. And there's nothing to pinpoint here. There's just a genuine sense of unease that's created throughout the whole thing. There's a lot more interest here. I mean, there's that whole scene where Jess is listening to the carolers downstairs. And you've got this kind of genuine festive cheer downstairs. And it's, like you say, it's juxtaposed, using that word, it's cut between the killer going into to one of the other girls' rooms and like stabbing her with the glass ornament, and that's just an example of one of many scenes that are genuinely well thought out, well planned, and are extremely effective. But it's not as you can't pinpoint as easily what it is that's working so well.
I think that's it, isn't it? I think people just want an answer. They don't like the idea of leaving the cinema or watching a film and going, oh, where's Billy? Is he still alive? What's going on? What were the phone calls about? Who are the voices?
Yeah.
We didn't get any answers. What are we doing? Oh, I'm not sure about that. And if you ask someone, oh, did you like the film? Well, yeah, but, I didn't know who anyone was. Who's the killer? There wasn't a conclusion to that. Oh, no, not for me.
I think it's the yeah, but. It's the yeah, I did, but hang on. What about this? What about that? And that's it. And that's what they're left with.
Yeah, it didn't explain it properly.
No, it's bloody. I mean, it's good. It's really good. And like you say, like the human stories, the stories of the relationships between the characters are given as much attention as, developing the killer and developing the horror side of things. The whole abortion thing, him doing, he's ultimately trying to become a pianist, and I'm assuming he's applying for some scholarship or whatever. Time and attention is given to that, to his audition, and the effect that this news about the baby has on him as a performer. It's all in there. Yeah, I mean, it's very effective. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and it also does, even though it's obviously a horror film, it also does have a genuine festive vibe to it. It does feel like a Christmas film.
I wonder if this was one of the first festive horror films. And I know there was films before this, of course, that had Christmas in and had horror elements to them. But is this one of the first truly good Christmas-based horror films? Possibly. Subjective, of course, but...
And you sort of think, if you were to choose a time, time of the year to set a horror film, Christmas would be your last thought. You'd think, well, like, how are we going to make that threatening? And this is what this is doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It is, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I don't think there's a lot of good horror-based Christmas films, is there?
No.
There was one recently, actually, a few years ago, called Better Watch Out. Have you seen that? That was all right, actually. That wasn't too bad.
What was it?
So it was about a babysitter and these two kids, and then it's set up as, oh God, it's a home invasion. Someone's trying to break in. I think she receives a couple of phone calls. So, not similar to this, but some elements that are similar. And then it turns somewhat. You're like, oh, hang on a minute. Oh, no. Right.
Better Watch Out.
Better Watch Out, yeah.
Was it like a low budget type thing? Or was
yeah, reasonably, I think, yeah. Yeah, but it was, pretty effective. Yeah, I think me and Fiona may do it as one of the Flogmas episodes. Oh, man, so get excited, eh? Better Watch Out. But that was, not too bad. Well, I've seen it once, so maybe on rewatch. But no, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of, immediately, none come to mind.
Christmas Evil. It's just about a bloke who's obsessed with Santa Claus.
Right.
And all year round, he dresses up as Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah.
And he watches kids in the neighbourhood through the window to see how they're getting on, because I think he actually thinks he is Santa Claus.
Right.
So he sees kids through the window and he's like, oh, Billy over there, he's been very naughty. Oh, no presents for him.
Oh, my God. Sorry, what's that? When did that come out? Never even heard of it.
1980, I think. So after this, it's silly. Like, it's really, really fucking ludicrous. But
What's it called? Christmas Eve?
again, I've only seen it once, I think. Christmas Evil. Might be worth looking at for a sort of a 20-minute job or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, as I said, there's quite a few. It's just, is there actually, how many good ones are there? Silent Night, Deadly Night?
Is that the Garbage Day one?
That's part 2, I think, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I've actually not seen the second one, but I know the second one has just, 50 minutes of just a rehash of the first one, with then a few bits in between to flesh it out.
But you've also got that Garbage Day bit, which
Garbage
is always
Day,
on, like, the worst acting montages.
Yeah.
Garbage Day. So I mean, what's the story of Silent Night, Deadly Night?
So the kid, his parents get murdered by a guy dressed as Santa.
Right.
Ever since then, he has, nightmares of Santa Claus.
So Santa Claus comes back, does he?
Well, spoiler here, but the guy, when he gets older, he decides to then dress up as Santa Claus and start killing people himself.
Right.
So,
So Garbage Day is, in fact, the Santa Claus man, I'm assuming.
so by the second one, I think it's his brother, maybe. Oh, man, I don't want to ruin it. You have to go watch these
sounds
films.
absolutely horrendous.
Don't want to ruin it for the fans.
Yeah.
Is it any worse than Jingle All the Way? Probably not, to be honest. If you want to put some junk on over Christmas, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just putting your feet up, eating some sewage, and just putting some junk on.
Yeah, put some junk
Silent
on
Night,
TV.
Deadly Night. Put it on. Enjoy.
Well, you say junk. I mean, there are some very good, festive films.
Oh, there's loads. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, mate, Black Christmas is one. Here we go.
Yeah, Black
We're
Christmas
talking
is
about
one.
it. Very good.
I think I might stick that on over Christmas, actually, and just watch it with the fam.
Yeah.
I suspect they'd be on board with this.
I think so, yeah.
I think you could show people this, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's good." It's a creepy one, but
It's so good, actually, this film.
it's really good.
Really, really good. Really well put together.
I was pretty, I was mystified that I hadn't seen it before. I thought, I've missed out here.
Bob Clark he's got another Christmas film, A Christmas Story. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Very different tone. It's a comedy, I think, with kids and stuff. Apparently, it's quite well liked.
Didn't this guy make Porky's?
Yeah, I've never seen Porky's. Never seen Porky's.
I've seen quite a lot of the first one. I don't think I've seen it all the way through. It's almost like it's like a 70s American Pie, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it set the tone for these teen comedies, didn't it?
Teen comedies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mate, you know what else? Anything for Black Christmas?
No, I just think you need to, if you haven't seen it, give it a watch. It's really top notch. Yeah, it just works on every level. I think there is something in it for everyone. There's no moment throughout the whole film and you think, you're always, slightly nervous watching these films from the 70s now. You always think, oh God, they're going to do something that's going to take me out of it. There's going to be some slightly wobbly, special effects, or, there's going to be something that doesn't quite hold up, to a sort of modern day audience. And it's absolutely top notch throughout the whole. I mean, it just builds the tension nicely. As I said earlier, the idea of evil taking root, you see, in the attic. Yeah,
that was pretty good, yeah. Yeah, I like that.
That's very much, that's it, isn't it? Because he spends the whole film there, basically. And you just, I mean, the final shot, which I won't describe, is phenomenal. I mean, there is a genuine bleakness throughout the film, I think. There's the festivities, but I think what you're left with is a genuine bleakness. As the credits roll, there's a real sort of, oh God,
Well, yeah, John Saxon and all the crew are sitting there going, oh yeah, I knew it was Peter. Case solved. Let's shut this stuff. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, they've not found the bodies of the other two.
No.
And old Jess is, by the looks of it, probably in trouble. The phone goes again to you like, oh, hang on a minute. When he kills someone, he rings straight afterwards. So, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like the father's still left, not knowing where his daughter is.
Yeah.
And you just see her up in the attic, yet to be found.
Well, you're watching, it's panning out and you're going like, there's no one not seeing that. Like,
I know.
I'm seeing it all the way from over here.
But he only lights the candle whenever the police have buggered off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's horrible. And it's effectively sitting, I mean, not dissimilar to something like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre dinner table scene where, the grandpa is effectively a corpse and they're basically sitting around a table amongst dead bodies. That's the vibe here. He's effectively sitting amongst his bodies on Christmas.
On Christmas,
horrendous.
Yeah. There's the scene when he starts having a bit of a panic attack upstairs as well and starts lobbing stuff around, starts, screaming. Oh,
Yeah.
hell, yeah. Yeah. All right. Goes back to the bodies, starts rocking again. Oh, God, it's going to calm down. Oh,
Yeah, this is like the calming effect.
Yeah, big deep breath. Let's just rock old Claire again. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm feeling better. Right.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Oh, yeah, right. Who are we getting next?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I better make
Right,
that phone call, actually.
Yeah.
That's long overdue.
Yeah. Sorry, what's the number again? Yeah. All right, yeah, here we go.
It's that first phone call, and he's blowing out, and then right at the end, he's, I'm going to kill you. Just hangs up. It's like, oh, yeah. Jeez. I'd say watch out for that guy. I think he could be coming back.
Yeah. No, it's top notch. Really good. Well, I mean, have you got anything left?
Well, mate, did you ever think Peter was going to be the killer? Turtleneck Pete as the killer?
I'm actually sort of embarrassingly.
He tries his best to be.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm embarrassingly easily led down the garden path on these type things. Like I never see the twist coming. I always go for the easy option, and I sort of think, well, it's got to be him. We've seen him smash up the piano in a rage. He in fact tells Jess, whenever she says I'm going to have an abortion, he says to her, you'll regret this, and then storms out the house. And he also breaks a window to gain entry to the house, which is, I mean, it's a slightly strange thing.
Yeah, it's quite odd, that scene at the end.
Well, he doesn't know that like something's actually happened in the house. So first of all, why is he trying to get in through the basement, and why does he then take it upon himself to smash the window to get in?
But he comes in, he's just got that look on his face. He's not like, Jess, what the hell's going on? Like, you're screaming,
Yeah.
why are you down here? He's like,
Oh,
yeah, okay.
come out.
What's
Yeah,
happening?
Let me see you.
What are we doing about that abortion? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's obviously massively set up. But I think at that point I thought, okay, well, I looked and I was like, okay, well, there's another 10 minutes to go here. There's something else. I actually thought that it was going to turn out that both him and Jess were in on it. They were both doing it. Because I thought at one point, whenever she goes into the room, whenever she sees the killer's eye through the slit in the door, I thought he said, I won't tell them what we've done. I thought that's what I heard.
Right.
Maybe I misheard that.
I think that goes back to the whole Agnes stuff on the phone.
That's it.
I think that goes back to the abuse or whatever those two have been doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him sort of, bringing up that.
You're meant to believe, I think by looking, through that shot of the eye, you're meant to look at that and see Billy as someone he's not really a willing participant in this slaughter. Like, he's doing it, but he's like, what are we doing? He's scared.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm doing this, but I don't really know what I'm doing because I've got some issues. So, hello? Who are you?
Yeah, there's definitely a split personality thing going on. I definitely think that the killer side of things is very much one of the personalities. But yeah, it's interesting. It's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll give it a watch.
Lois Lane, Barb. You recognise her from the Supermans, the Christopher
No,
Reeve
I'm not.
Supermans?
I'm not too
No?
good on the Superman side.
That's
of
Lois
things, no.
Lane. Margot Kidder, I think her name is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Lois Lane.
Nice.
So she went on.
She
Good
got
start,
a start
this.
in this. Yeah, good start.
Yeah, well, if you get a bit of time over Christmas, you want to gather all the family around. Maybe just Christmas morning. Just get Black Christmas on.
Agreed.
No, but in all seriousness, such a good film.
Yeah, it is. It is good. Yeah, it is good.
An underrated and I fear unseen
Yeah,
horror film.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just maybe just watch it or something.
Yeah, put it on. Yeah,
Well, mate, nice to have you back. It's great. It's great just to get on the mic again. Just
It
spit
is.
some lyrics, just feeling good. It's,
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's nice. The holiday season just around the corner. It's good.
it's been a long time. I mean, I should explain. My absence, which I'm sure will have been noticed by all. I've been arranging a stag do.
Oh,
I
right.
had the stag do, which has very much taken the bulk of my attention for the past few weeks. But yeah, back now, ready to get back.
Yeah.
Start, breathing on this mic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have you back, and I'm sure the fans will be pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
And watch this space.
Yeah.
More to come.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. Until next time.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
Anyhow, Ben, where can we find us? Go on, you take the lead on this. My
Don't
arm's
be
starting
so
to hurt.
stupid. Stop
Oh.
being a child.
I've just announced to the world.
Do the one thing that you do on this
For
podcast.
fuck's
Get on
sake.
with it.
So you can find us on the Facebook, the Twitter and Instagram. We're also on TikTok occasionally. We're on all of the regular sites for downloading podcasts such as Good Pods,
Why do you butcher this?
Spotify,
You've done it a million times.
the Apple thing. What's the Apple thing called?
Yes, where you find your podcast.
Yeah, where you find your podcast.
Yes.
There you go. That's where you find us. Oh, and sometimes we do the game floggers, but we don't do it very often.
We're going to be doing it. We're
not.
going to be doing it over Christmas. I'm going to get another monitor.
No, he is not.
And we're gonna be
over
doing
my
it.
dead body.
That's going to be so much easier because then we can have one monitor to interact with all the fans, and the other one
currently has 3. Well, he's got 2 and then his laptop, so
be easier. So much better. Looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Anyhow, thank you and goodbye. Don't forget to like, share and review. Happy Flogmas.
Hello and welcome to What's Our Seat Number. If you're listening to this trailer, you're deciding whether or not you're going to listen to this podcast.
Good.
But chances are we've lost you already.
Good. Wait, what? No, come on now. What?
Well, I mean,
Why?
it takes what, like 10 seconds for people
You're
to lose
being
interest in
defeatist.
things? I am
You're
not
being
being
defeatist.
defeatist. They've
You
gone
are.
already. It's for now.
Then, well, now they are because we started arguing, so we've both sort of driven them out.
Well, go
Right,
on
just
then.
go on to
Tell the dead air who we are.
Okay, the dead air,
The dead air.
the cadaver.
The people who aren't listening anymore.
I'm taking control. You introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we're doing, right? It's going to sound more professional that way. Go.
Okay. I'm Johnny Gross. I'm a filmmaker and a film fan and fanatic and obsessive.
Good. Very good. That was very well done. Very professional. You sounded like you're in control and almost like you know who you are.
All right then, and who are you?
I'm Sai. I'm a 3D artist and a game designer, a film fan. I'm your brother as well.
Really?
So we're going to be talking about some of our favourite movies and hopefully some of yours as well. There's going to be trivia behind the scenes.
Do you want to tell the listeners why we've called this podcast What's Our Seat Number?
You really came to the right person with fielding this question because I feel that I can take this story and really bring it to life. Okay, so one time we went to go and see a film in the cinema and I asked, what's our seat number?
Fantastic.
Was it good?
Yeah.
I did it for you.
That's great. If you want to hear more, you can check out the rest of our episodes. We're hosted by Podbean, but you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music or Audible, TuneIn, Alexa, Listen Notes, and now on iHeartRadio, Player FM, and Podchaser. So pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. Please don't forget to review, like, and rate, and keep listening, because the more you listen, the more we'll be able to produce. Bye.
Ta-ta.